On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Joe Biden is absolutely destroying himself. I think he's supposed to have an interview tonight, Friday. It's obviously earlier in the day for those of you watching. It's probably going to be an S show. I don't think there's really any way. He can't seem to hold himself for even a minute or two. Got many examples of this. Trump kind of trying to push forward, trying to make some of the right noises to get us as a country coming together and moving together. Again, it was the 4th of July yesterday. We've got some fun stuff around that. And major, not like scary, but politically, votes and stuff like that. Some major stuff playing out with England and certainly in the world. There's a lot going on. So we got actually a really good jam-packed show. Make sure we get ourselves moving in the right direction. Also want to remind you guys today, I show the live music show, or if you want to watch it after the effect, it's all good. But we're doing inspired by Seals and Crofts. Sorry, it's like holy crap. Seals and Crofts, and we it's kind of love song-esque. I don't know. Last week did episode 69. That was kind of like sexy songs, I called it, and a lot of pretty good music that was sort of in line with just sex talk. And it got me in the whole lovey-dovey kind of thing. I don't know. So we got some cool songs. I think it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a little softer kind of pop hits of the 70s kind of genre, if you will, but certainly going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys get a chance to check that out. That is on the same channel, just, music show I do live. Sometimes harder to find. A lot of stuff going on with America because we're the greatest country. And we're waking up. A lot of people are actually. It's awesome. So here's some good stuff Scavino put out for us. I hope you enjoy.
The America.
We do, and we will, and we are. We're putting America first, and I think there's a lot of other countries that are really putting their country's needs first. This whole socialistic idea where everybody has to feel the pain from stuff that doesn't even necessarily need to happen. And again, a lot of this, it's funny, is we've got all these people streaming out of Africa into the Mediterranean, into Europe. We've certainly got the same problems from people with Central and South America streaming up into our country. And rather than trying to make the world a better place, put in a little bit of money, maybe help some of these countries do better, right? Instead of doing things like that, we don't. We facilitate this embargo that is destroying everything and bringing in a bunch of cheap labor, which I think is 90% of what's going on. We're living through some big changes, but we're all learning from it, right? And that's the evolution, the growth. That's the important part, is us, you, and me waking up more. We're not fully awake yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. Getting there. You should check out Synchronicity tonight, too, speaking of which. Alpha and I talking about a major part of that awakening process. It's not easy, but there's work involved. And I tell you, once you start to shift and start to see and start to understand, it actually becomes fun because you start to become someone that's a participant in your own life, in what you experience, rather than a subject or a prisoner to what happens, but instead actually doing more to create. Cool, in fact. I've spent many an hour at air shows growing up, so I always love that kind of planes and good stuff like that. And the smell of jet fuel. I don't know what it is. Man, I wanted to work at an airport so badly when I was younger. I don't know why I didn't get to. Needless to say, again, 4th of July, powerful time. I think a lot of us really thought about things. We're going to share some interesting information as well as more inspiration. There's another Dan Scavino video here to start this movement.
Worth remembering that all the celebration of this day is rooted in history. It was noted at the time that they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors. And that was more than rhetoric. Each of those men knew the penalty for high treason to the crown. We must all hang together, Benjamin Franklin said, or assuredly we will all hang separately.
Now, as much as I love a good explosion with the next gentleman, I mean, it does bum me out a little bit that this is kind of the movement that this video took, right? Like, I just wish there's more peace right now, and it really bums me out, and it trips me out, too, kind of. Like, we use and find and define so much technology to kill other people. Like, we are such children spiritually when it comes to the evolution of an actual race of people. Many of us find ourselves to be brilliant when we think about it, but we aren't. We're idiots. First off, building on top of the ground is probably not the smartest thing. That's where the vegetation is. That's really the biosphere. You're really not helping yourself building on top of land. It's one thing I'm surprised we never really figured out how to go underground a little better and be able to come up and enjoy. Don't get me wrong. That's what we should do. But, ultimately, homes to an extent don't necessarily have to be above ground. All said, we are learning, we're evolving, and hopefully we can figure out how not to kill each other, because that is the key ingredient. There's a big giant asteroid belt in this solar system that is related to people making poor choices. And it's the same group that's here now, by the way. They just moved from there to here. It was agreed upon, and those days are coming to an end. Put out by Geiger Capital, Ages of the Founding Fathers in 1776. I bet I didn't know this. This is for sure, right? James Monroe, he was 18. Aaron Burr, he was 20. John Marshall, 20. Alexander Hamilton, 21. James Madison, 25. John Jay, 30, and Thomas Jefferson was grandpa at 33. Now, understand, people didn't generally live past their 60s, I don't think. I mean, we'd certainly come a long way by the time we'd reached 1776, but still, the longevity of our lives was not very, very far. So these guys were, well into their child-producing days. But this was the people. Can you imagine nowadays? If it was left up to the 18 to 21-year-olds, and no offense to any of you all that are in my audience, which I can't imagine there's many, but can you imagine your whole generation having to actually rise up and fix this now, today? With the way that I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Idiocracy, but I feel like that's a huge extent to where society is right now, right? And it's just children and what they're learning and how they're so overly progressive when they come out of school. How critical thinking's been lost. We don't even know how to think anymore. You hand someone a problem, they can't really rationalize through it. They're like, all right, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, all right, you need to figure out how to solve it. And they're like, what? Why? They just generally are used to following directions and creating the answer that is expected. It's weird. It's different. I don't know if any of you guys took that intro to logic in school. It was that, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, like that kind of that logic class that teaches you how to form logic, how to form arguments and all that. It was actually, as much as I hated the class, it was probably one of the most useful classes I ever learned as far as critical thinking. And that was really what it was supposed to be, like a critical thinking class. Teach you how to think, which they don't do anymore. So, during the American Revolution, people were divided into two main groups, patriots and loyalists. The patriots were united by a common goal, championing individual freedom and self-governance. Loyalists, steadfast in their allegiance to the British crown, were united by a shared mission to maintain the status quo and uphold big government. Today's political establishment thrives on loyalist backings, while patriots naturally diminish their influence. This explains why Democrats, rhinos, and corporate media demonize phrases like "Make America Great Again." They dread the resurgence of the patriot values that secured our independence in 1776. Now, here's one of the things that's funny about us. We're the ones that are making the difference. And more join every day, of course, and you're always welcome. But it is that patriot component inside. It's that soul force. It's that thing inside of you, right? That's like, I can't just stand idly by and let this happen. And it's the same people, the same mojo, if you will, that has been able to do this when the times were tough. And this is what makes America, America, first off. We don't back down. We don't give up. Don't care what the problem is. We'll find a way. We'll find a way. There's no, I don't know, it might be hard. No. We'll find a way. Period. Always. That is in our DNA. Now, this is what Washington, D.C. has become. This is downtown, I believe. And this is where we're at for a reason. Okay, don't get all freaked out and go, I got to stop this. No, you don't. Just understand this is what's happening to demonstrate to the bigger picture that we've been invaded. Hard to tell, I know. The flags that are missing are the American ones, but that's not really true. The little bits of fire are actually American flags. Yeah, no, we don't want those around, but certainly other countries, the Palestinian, I think, right? I don't know what the hell these other two flags are. No idea. But whatever. I honestly don't care. Because here's the thing. It's like people talk about, like, when you go on a sporting event, it's the best example, or a battle, whatever. But, like, just sports, just keep it easy. And you're playing a team that you know is superior. I don't care. Certainly, superior teams have been upset numerous times throughout the history of sports. So I never care. Yeah, we might lose. I don't give a shit. I'm going into it because I'm going to win. I know they're going to try to win. I'm trying to win. I don't care what they're trying to do. I mean, I'll defend for it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not concerned by their attempts. And many of us focus a lot on what the bad guys are trying to do rather than focusing on what the good guys are doing about it and being a part of that, for that matter. Elon Musk predicted that fellow billionaire tech mogul Bill Gates will be obliterated for short-selling stocks, rekindling a feud that has been marked by public disagreement over climate change, coronavirus, and electric vehicles. Now, Musk is basically saying, once I get all this stuff going and I get the fully self-driving thing and I get my giant gigafactory and I get my Optimus and volume production, then, dude, my stocks are going through the roof, and any of you all that short-selled or set up for short sell are going to lose your shorts. Now, what is funny is this is what the establishment does. This is what they do with your money, too, by the way. Your money that you're investing, because Bill Gates is sort of involved in this giant-ass fund of money as well, and many hedge funds are looking at these companies that Gates is putting money towards, and, you know, we are seeing, wow, we're seeing ESG, we're seeing just crazy stuff. June jobless rate triggers solemn rule, I guess. Some are saying is recession imminent. The recession probably started already, but they did say our growth was 1.6 to 1.4, somewhere around that. That's what our recent growth was, I think, last year. And here we are, solid 6 months into this year, and things just aren't what they appear to be. I've got a couple of videos I'm going to talk about it, but there's been even adjustments with the jobs numbers. The growth is not what it should be. And there's rumors that interest rates are coming down, but don't know. Inflation's still a bit higher than it's supposed to be as well. We're in a tough place. And the second they admit that we're in a recession, that's like one of those indicators that causes panic. You want to be ahead of the panic. You don't want to be behind the panic. Here's some of the information around the labor numbers that came out. Got two different discussions of it, and I think it's interesting because, again, it's left-leaning media that's talking about it right now. And I think some of that is because they're trying to help push Biden out. But all said, they're doing us a favor.
74% of the jobs came from government and healthcare and education. So that's where the bulk of the jobs are.
Okay.
The rest of the jobs not doing quite so well. Leisure and hospitality, which have been a big source of job growth, just 7,000. Retail, we'd had some strength there, down 8,500. And then temporary help, which is a potential leading sign, minus 48,000. So you have this kind of dual sector economy. By the way, it's not the federal government. A lot of it is local government jobs. They seem to be still hiring in those places or those municipalities. And it's the hospitals up 22,000. So that's where a lot of the job growth is coming from.
What I want to point out, too, that's important is the job growth heavily was in government sectors. Now, like you said, not just federal government, but state and local mostly. But still, that's taxpayer money. They're trying to spend up what they have. That's a typical way that a lot of government thinking, but certainly nonprofits do this too. But anytime there's a budget, you spend your budget because if there's any money left over, they don't give you as much next year. It's all based on how much you use, so you literally have to spend every bit of your budget. That's really a horrible, stupid way to manage anything. But it is kind of the way that the Dems' ideology works. Spend it all, ask for more, spend all that, ask for more, and just keep doing it. Rinse, lather, repeat. That's how it works. So government jobs come from taxpayer funds, which means private sector just got an even bigger hit to pay for these jobs that they're now touting. These jobs are extraordinarily expensive, and any taxes these people pay from their jobs is already from taxpayer money anyways. So to say that, well, they're paying taxes too, yes, but like, what, 16, 20, 25% of the taxpayer money that's funding their entire salary? So they're paying a smaller percent of already tax-funded liability. Not a good thing. Not good for the economy, not good for anything, and certainly not quite the numbers that they keep claiming they've got. Here's another example from Fox, at least, but we'll see.
The headline number was pretty good on terms of jobs, but you got these revisions again, down 111,000 jobs in May and April. So there, again, it's like, well, what's the real number here? I guess we won't know until next month. The unemployment rate ticked up to 4.1%. So that's starting to move in the wrong direction. The number of unemployed increased by 162,000. So I look at this report and I see more weakness than strength. And I see all the shenanigans that I've seen in every other report in terms of the numbers moving around, Ash.
Yeah, so the shenanigans are the big part. They keep moving information, job numbers, everything else. They keep claiming things are better than they are. They keep saying that everything's awesome, and then they secretly revise things down, and they secretly change the story in the background. We've been seeing this over and over, countless times. Everything. This is how they, the bait and switch. This is how they do everything. Trusting them and staying in their system are probably some of the worst decisions that we can possibly make at this point, given what we know, especially. They all say, the experts say, you should stay in stocks. That no matter what, stocks are good. Well, I played a Mark Moss video. I'm going to play it again here in the next day or two or three. That showed how the spending and power of the dollar has been diminished as they print more money. So that concept keeps destroying the dollar. Right now, we're printing money like it's going out of style. We're paying $1 trillion in debt every 100 days, and that's only speeding up. We are not going in the right direction. The bubble will burst. And most people, overnight, because that's how it's going to happen in futures trading. You're not going to know about it in advance. Most people are going to lose potentially 10, 12% overnight. And then as the panic ensues, that will get a little worse. You can get ahead of this. If you're in a 401k or an IRA that's based in their system, based on stocks in dollars, like most of us do, because that's what you're told is the best thing, you're actually heading in a direction that's not helping. One, it's not making you money. You look like you're gaining dollars in wealth on top. It looks like you're going up, but the actual value of what you've got, the value of the dollar, the spending power, the buying power of that dollar is greatly reduced. Gold's actually positive. It's a great hedge. It's one of the best hedges ever. One of the best. Always has through every economy, everywhere. When they saw the economy crash and they started pumping into precious metals, and then they carry that to the other side when the new economy begins. A lot of countries, they do it frequently. We're not as often, but we're going through that right now. And we also got to kick the Fed out. So we're probably going to go to something like a Treasury note instead of the Federal Reserve note. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. Also got up to $8,000 in free silver for divesting some of your savings. You've got some cash lying around that you probably would like to hold on to the value of, the buying power of. Right now, $5,000, $10,000 of cash will buy you X. Well, if you buy some precious metals with it and we go down the road about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, well, you'll actually be able to buy more with that 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever. You'll be able to buy more. Its buying power is literally increasing. They're suggesting close to 45% right now as a general overall slope. Things are getting worse. We are seeing these things fall apart. We see the rest of the world starting to wake up, and we know the deep state is not doing well. And they're behind the central banks. They're behind the Federal Reserve. They're behind all these central governments. And their days are numbered, and their systems are dying. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Protect some of that wealth however you can, because they're trying to take it from you. DRSlikesgold.com. All right, we got some more good stuff here. Aaron Siri put this out, and this is kind of weird. Probably some people you know will likely get this vaccine that's out right now, and they'll probably likely move towards the one that's the flu and the bird flu mixed together. FDA has licensed 3 bird flu vaccines, the H5N1 is what they're calling that one. Sanofi, that's a national stockpile. I'm assuming this is in Britain where they're doing these studies, but whatever. This Sanofi was licensed for adults based on trial in which only 103 adults were vaccinated and 48 received placebos. Worse, there were 4 serious adverse events in the vaccine group. Probably the one that's going to survive. ID Biomedical. In the adult trial, the vaccine group had 4 times the rate of new immune-mediated diseases. If I understand that correctly, 4 times as got sicker or some other weird thing popped up while they were taking this thing. The trial for children, 6 months to 17 years, had only 838 children and hence was underpowered, so only the adult trial was being looked at. Securus, in the adult trial, 0.5% of the vaccinated group died, but only 0.1% of the placebo group died. The trial for children 6 months to 17 years had only 329 children and was underpowered as well. But they're still probably going to figure out how to put one of these shots out there. I would be very curious about that. Here's Joe Rogan talking with, I draw a blank on the dude's name. I actually kind of like him. He's a very progressive dude, and I don't fully agree with everything he says, but he's funny. And I just, I mean, like I said, I don't have to agree with people, but I sometimes am interested in how they deliver, what they're talking about, what their take is, because I actually think he makes intelligent points. It's very, very far left leaning in its inception or desires, I think. And I think sometimes we got to meet in the middle. But again, I think he represents an aspect of society that's worth hanging on to, and that we've got to figure out how to meld in with the rest of us.
The playbook is keep the people distracted and divided. That's always been the playbook. And then while we're in the middle of these international conflicts that are baffling to everybody involved, and you're wondering how they have all this money to do that, but they don't have any money to address all the problems that we have. How about the people in Maui? Imagine being a person in Maui that lost their home. They give you $700, and then you still can't rebuild. It's a year later, nothing's been built.
And at the blink of an eye, they give $100 billion to Zelensky. And
well, even worse, they accidentally sent Ukraine $6 billion. They sent an accidental $6 billion. So then we looked up, how much would it cost to rebuild every house that got destroyed in the fire? $5 billion. So they could have done that.
So why wouldn't they do that?
Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they do that? I don't understand. Those people are devastated. And then there's all this talk about taking over that land.
Well, you go to Maui. I was in Maui, and you see people have put graffiti on the side of buildings saying this is a land grab.
Yeah.
You see that a lot.
It is a land grab. It's a pretty transparent land grab.
Right?
It's happening in front of our eyes, and no one's doing anything about it because it's 5 hours in a jet across the ocean. And we're watching this shit take place where these people... And first of all, just horrible mismanagement of water rights, horrible mismanagement of power lines. The fact that they have horrible winds, crazy winds there, and they've had these fucking power lines that are above ground. When I lived in California, my fucking lines were underground. They figured it out there. How come they didn't figure it out in Hawaii? You know how much money could have been saved? They just put the power lines underground?
It was so unfortunate that their alarm system malfunctioned.
Yeah, how about that?
And that the water got turned off, so the firefighters...
They wouldn't let them turn the water on.
It was
people. The water's a very valuable commodity there. The whole thing is fucking insane.
And that the cops are turning people back into the fire. It's just these
the whole thing is insane.
These are all just unfortunate. These unfortunate things.
And again, one, millions of people are seeing it. Two, this very progressive left-leaning individuals talking about these things. And again, right? We're spending billions and billions of dollars, over hundreds of billions of dollars, to help Ukraine fight a war they have no chance of winning, that's destroying an entire population, and yet we won't rebuild in Maui after something that quite likely looked to be suspicious how it all played out. And all the other things that were happening, like the Uvalde shooting, similar stuff. At least that guy finally got busted, right? No cops were allowed to go in. They wouldn't let it stop. Meanwhile, this guy's killing kids. This is the sick stuff they do. They're part of their rituals. It is part of it. And this is part of what we're fighting. These people have at their exposure weapons of mass destruction, and they're using them. Chuck Grassley put this out. Now, a lot of people talk about the corn stuff, and they think it relates back to Corny and the Q posts. And whether it is or isn't, I think Chuck Grassley's a farmer, and that's kind of what I was actually most impressed about sharing this is, he's talking about used to agree knee-high by 4th of July to have a good harvest. Now it's shoulder-high by 4th of July. This year, corn has grown so much, it's overhead by the 4th of July. Now, again, we should call him probably Chuck Cornley. I don't think Chuck Grassley seems appropriate. But needless to say, yes, we are apparently getting better growth. Something's happening. But, yeah, maybe it's just comms. Could be. Always could be. All right, he has no chance. We got some very fun stuff to brag about Joe Biden here. First off, we're starting with Ezra Cohen. He is responding to Edward Isaac Dover, whatever. New from me. Biden told Democrat governors at the White House last night that he would stop scheduling events after 8 p.m. and that he knows he needs more sleep. The debate last week started at 9 p.m. Ezra Cohen's like, will he also be scheduling the moves of our enemies across time zones in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East? How can Biden fulfill his oath as commander-in-chief given these health restrictions? And this has come out. It's not like they're denying it. It's like he literally doesn't want to work past 8 p.m. Like, you ever heard of that before? Even if presidents did that, don't publicly admit it. Holy crap. Anyway, here's Biden talking about how he's proud to be one of the first black people in office.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
And that's his other thing he does now. Like, he loses track. He has no idea what the hell he's saying because it makes no sense anyway. So I can understand how his train derails in his head. He's like, I've just connected 14 things that don't belong together. Fail. And then he's like, oh, America. Okay. You just called yourself a black woman in there and a black president. He kind of did both. Maybe he's living vicariously through Kamala. It's all possible. He says he's the first president to get elected statewide in the state of Delaware when he was a kid. He makes perfect sense, always.
I remember as a Catholic kid growing up in an area where we didn't like Catholics didn't get elected. I'm the first president to get elected statewide in the state of Delaware when I was a kid. Well, I looked at John Kennedy and said, well, he got elected. Why can't I get elected?
I'm the first president to win statewide in the state of Delaware when I was a kid. I mean, again, I think I know what he's trying to say, but the fact that he can't is a problem. He's talking to foreign leaders, and he's got his finger on the button, always, right? The metaphorical button. Donald Trump trooped this out. Happy 4th of July to all, including to our highly incapable president, who uses prosecutors to go after his political opponent, who choked like a dog during the debate, but tried to pretend it was international travel, only 12 days rest. And when that gig was up, he blamed it on a cold. Therefore, why would anyone say he's cognitively challenged? Also, respects to our potentially new Democrat challenger. Oh, we already read all this yesterday. Laughing Kamala Harris. She did poorly in the Democrat nominating process. Started out at number 2 and ended up defeating and dropping out even before getting to Iowa. But that doesn't mean she's not a highly talented politician. Just ask her mentor, the great Willie Brown of San Francisco. Someone else that I have to compliment is deranged Biden prosecutor named Jack Smith, who has become a legend in his own mind for all of those cases he has lost. The corrupt prosecutors are working hard for Crooked Joe, but it will never be enough. Make America Great Again. Sorry, I read that yesterday, but I guess we're reading it again. It got snuck in there. Disgraceful, heavily slurring Biden. This is a different discussion on the 4th. This is in front of a bunch of vets and families of vets and stuff. And here's his suckers and losers attempt. Wanted to bring that up, even though it's a debunked story. But here he is bringing up a debunked story.
You know, I was in that World War I cemetery in France. And the one that one of our colleagues, the former president, didn't want to go and be up there. I probably shouldn't even say it. Anyway. We got to just remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America.
Whoa. See, there's another example, right? You get lost. America at the end, because I don't know what else to say. I think there's somebody just like, all right, whenever you lose track of your mind, then just come in with, yeah, no matter what, we're the United States of America, yeah, right? Like, that's when you just go like this and just that's all you need to do, Biden. Just go whenever you forget what you're saying. And people will be like, hi, what the fuck's wrong with him? So, yeah, here we go. Not that he's, I mean, this is minutes, if that, at a time. And he's incapable. Biden talks about the troops and how he's been all over the world with them. He's been in and out of battles and stuff.
And by the way, I've been all over the world with you. I've been in and out of battles anyway.
I've been in and out of battles anyway. This, again, isn't even 90 minutes. This isn't even 5 minutes. This isn't even 2 minutes. Joe Biden is incapable. Something that's come out, and this is Julian E. Baines and John Ismay, I guess, put this out on July 1st. American defense officials raised the security alert level at military bases in Europe over the weekend in response to vague threats from the Kremlin. We talked about this. We're going to keep going, though. It's interesting. So, all these vague threats from the Kremlin over Ukraine's use of long-range weapons on Russian territory, according to U.S. and Western officials. Officials said that no specific intelligence about possible Russian attacks on American bases had been collected. Any such attack by Russia, whether overt or covert, would be a significant escalation of its war in Europe. Russia has been stepping up acts of sabotage in Europe, hoping to disrupt the flow of material to Ukraine. So far, no American bases have been targeted in those attacks, but U.S. officials said raising the alert level would help ensure that service members were keeping watch. This last part's kind of key. Throughout the war, U.S. officials have assessed that President Vladimir V. Putin is loath to expand the war beyond Ukraine's borders, meaning has zero desire, in fact, hates the idea of expanding past Ukraine. We know he doesn't want to do that. Well, this week, the New York Times just casually dropped that the official U.S. intelligence assessment has always been that Putin didn't want to expand the Ukraine conflict beyond Ukraine. But in public, Biden and other U.S. officials have been pushing a domino theory that if we negotiated an end to the war, Russia would invade Poland and beyond. Biden led off to the State of the Union with this claim. This has been their argument for why we've got to keep spending money, and that's the thing they've always done. Gulf of Tonkin, just to start that one. But they always lie. 9/11 sparked a giant-ass set of wars, didn't it? Lies. That actually, they went to great lengths, which is really hard for some people to accept. I get you. But these are people that are not specifically Americans that did this. This is the deep state. This is your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers, and really names that are above that. I think family that starts with P and whatever. There's another one that reminds me of an actor. I don't like even saying the names. Seriously, it's just not worth doing. But there are the families. Terrified Dems have dystopian theory about real reason for keeping alien Biden, 81, in power as shocking new claims about his decline emerge. Now, Someone does some pretty good sleuthing here. Top Democrats are so alarmed about Joe Biden's ailing health, some fear a shadowy cabal is keeping him in power so they can pull the levers behind the scenes, it is claimed. That's also levers for you Americans. I was saying that for the Brits out there. They pull levers. But here in America, we pull levers, baby. The astonishing theory was detailed in the liberal New York Magazine. Its reporter Olivia Nuzzi revealed that even Democrat elites are stumped as to how and why the fast-declining 81-year-old is being allowed to continue his re-election bid. Nuzzi said she had heard questions being posed by high-ranking Democrats on the East and West Coasts about whether Biden is a puppet whose strings are being pulled by another group of secretive Democrats. She highlighted the irony that this is the same theory espoused by many on the MAGA right, with Donald Trump himself previously alleging that former President Barack Obama is the real power behind the Biden White House. People on the left are talking about it. This is called awakening. They may be doing it as a fear, and that's what a lot of it was for many of us, wasn't it? That's why we got involved. Fear that these people, these crazy people, were going to get control. Jill and son Hunter push Joe to fire staff as yet another Biden swoops in and circle the wagons with the presidential bid. You can tell these people are freaking out that their enterprise is crumbling. In fact, I'll bet you money that their money has dried up. So we've got Biden members. I think the sister has kind of been a little vocal, but whatever. It's always secret people, so we don't know who's telling us this stuff. But we know that Hunter's been running around with Dad as of late. We know Jill's very involved. So they are desperately trying to hang on to power. Donald J. Trump truthed this out. He said, this bum is running for the DOJ. Does Mueller's lead prosecutor have a history of ethics violations? Uh-oh. These facts are rising about Andrew Weissman's continued service on Robert Mueller's team and justifying delving further into his career. Apparently he's got some ethics violations that he needs to speak to. Interesting how those things play out, isn't it? Donald Trump truthed this, or actually Dan Scavino truthed this out, and I just thought it was a cool picture. Oops, let's try that again. That won't work that way. Sometimes you just got to suck live, you know what I mean? President Trump speaking to military families via Zoom in the great state of Florida, followed by the great state of Wisconsin, joined by Rep. Michael G. Waltz, live from Bedminster. So Trump actually got in front of a camera and did this weird Zoom, somehow set up a Zoom call with multiple families in multiple locations that were streaming this Zoom call with him. First off, brilliant, right? Got the bar, we got this other place, we got all these different places where Trump is streaming to them. This dude's killing Biden in every way, shape, and form. Killing him metaphorically for any of you feds. Get out of here. Of course, I don't mean that. And I always talk peace so people can shut the F up when they ever want to misquote me. And I probably wouldn't even be aware of it because I don't frankly follow any of that crap. So Donald Trump truthed this. I have the answer to crooked Joe Biden's incompetence puzzle. Let's do another debate, but this time, no holds barred. An all-on discussion with just the two of us on stage talking about the future of our country. The ratings were massive for the first debate, record-setting in fact. But this one, because of the format, would blow everything away. Let Joe explain why he wants open borders with millions of people and many violent criminals from parts unknown pouring into the once great nation, or why he wants men playing in women's sports, or demand all electric vehicles within 5 years, or why he allowed inflation to run rampant, destroying the people of our country, and so much more. It would also, under great pressure, prove his competence or lack thereof. Likewise, it would be yet another test for me. What a great evening it would be, just the two of us, one-on-one, in a good old-fashioned debate, the way they used to be. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Now, the great thing about Biden is he's got a ginormous ego. Even in his retardation that he's experiencing on a regular basis, his ego is still fully intact. These statements if Biden finds out about them, and I'm sure his staff does everything to keep him from seeing this. Like, no, here's more Atari. Shut up, poopy pants. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Oh, Biden would, behind the gym, start rolling up his sleeves like a fool. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Donald Trump truth this as well. This was a Biden prosecution, weaponization. I did nothing wrong, called legal expense. Legal expense. Biden should call off the dogs. Now we've got a story from Newsmax. Apparently, former Manhattan DA, likely no jail time for Trump, is what he's saying. And I think some of it might be the deep state actually pulling their heads out of their asses, or also has something to do with the immunity clause. And so maybe he's got no case and he knows it. And they realize they're going to be overturned anyways. So maybe the best thing to do is not be as big a dicks as they could be, but still be dicks because they have to be. I don't know. But they're now saying that he's likely not going to get jail time. Okay. At least they can keep calling him a felon. He's still going to appeal it. It's his reputation. It's ridiculous. Donald Trump truth this as well. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. I don't know who Project 2025 is. I'm sure a bunch of you guys do. Trump literally has come out and says, I have nothing to do with these people. Obviously, there's something going around right now that is not... Whoa. Well, that's one thing to do. He's obviously got information that's going around right now that people are... people are apparently, saying Trump's supporting this or using him to fund whatever the hell they're doing. I don't know anything about Project 2025. It's like PSA for all you guys. Dude, I love this company, and I got the coolest response. The company themselves, actually, by the way, reached out to me. Why? Because of one of you. One of you guys is going to know this. You're going to know it's you. But I got this text today. They go, "Hi, Dan. Hope you are having the best day ever." Which, by the way, they just made it significantly better. "We just got this message, and I wanted to share it with you. Quote, Dan Radio Style, thank you for promoting these American-made miracles. Pet Club 247 has changed our lives. We are grateful. God bless you all." So sweet, so wonderful, and I've only been doing this product not even a month yet, and we're already seeing results. Do you have a pet? Do you have a pet that you love dearly? Here's the thing. There's over 400 studies that talk about how this mushroom, and by the way, there's people side to this too, so I'm not taking dog food just for those of you like, dude, Dan, are you all right? Reminds me of a funny thing I used to do at parties, but no. But this says this, I can't even say it. It's Coriolis versicolor. It's the mushroom. This mushroom has weird benefits. Over 400 studies demonstrating how it reduces cancer, and there's been some other ailments that it's majorly helped with. In people, in animals, there's a number of testimonials on this website that talk about how their animals are better just because they're doing the mush puppies. $28.99 is what they're saying, right? It's this reasonable bag. You can actually, too, a lot of people benefit. I think you save 5% or something like that. One, you can save 15% if you actually plan on buying enough crap to actually make it worth your while, and then you get a discount on everything you buy. I think it's one of the ways you can set up. I don't know if it's at the bottom or where the hell that actually shows up at. But there's a way to do that. I think it costs you a little bit of money a month to maintain on the website, but you actually end up getting a discount. It's like $15 a month, I think. And if you do that, and you're buying more than $150 or whatever, you get this discount. And it's kind of like what I get. Like when I buy their products, I get a discount, right? So you can do that, but ultimately you're buying, it's fine too. You're getting great prices. And there's a way to get the shipping done on a regular basis, and you kind of control how many of these you give to your dog. You know, probably one a day for sure. You want to make sure they're getting this awesome mushroom in their bodies and making themselves more healthy. But the other thing they do is they don't have chemicals. They don't have all this weird, crazy stuff. A lot of the toys that we buy for our dogs or cats are actually made in China. So they have all sorts of chemicals, lead, all sorts of weird stuff on them. So we wonder why our animals are getting sicker. Well, some of the food we feed them is crap. So one, mush puppies, everybody that's done testimonials, seems to be the gateway drug for the whole big picture. I mean that in the right way. We've got a couple different versions of them. We've also got some regular foods. Mojos, I think, are also some beef liver stick, or like, treats that the dogs, for the dogs that need that meat stick. Mojos, that's the one. It's got the stuff baked into it as well. And all the good ingredients for your animal. Right? They got mush ponies. They've got these treats for your horses. Right? I like dogs. Cats have a lot of their own stuff too, but they got dried food. They got the wet food. They've got dog toys and chewy sticks that are actually healthy, antler sticks. It's actually made of good ingredients that are healthy for your dog. So as they're chewing on them and helping their teeth, they're also helping themselves, right? Some of that collagen and stuff like that's good for their joints, good for their bones. So not only do they not have chemicals, they're actually helping the animal. They got the mutt mints too, which has the Coriolis in there, which some say actually has helped with some of the mouth problems that some of the dogs they have, but certainly helps with the dog breath also. Incredible products. Telling you, this is the way to help keep your animals alive longer, to stay with us, because they don't live long enough. And for cats, they've got dried cat food. They've got the Nipster. It's a cat play toy, right? It's all healthy as well. They've got, again, dry food. I don't know. They don't seem to have wet food for cats. And they've got a couple products for horses. And incredible products. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They are absolutely making some of the best products for dogs, cats, horses, and humans. They do the same thing for us, too, by the way. Good friend of mine of the channel, has been anyways, Chris Baby Trump, he was using this, supposedly had a tumor, and it went away. And this is really all he did. Started eating healthy and took this stuff like heavily. It's a very powerful ingredient, also one that you can't really OD on either. It's powerful. So whatever's going on in your life, you might want to consider adding some help. And it's got over 400 studies of showing how it helps. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Major stuff happening in the world. Major stuff happening. It was a big day yesterday. In England especially. Odd they have their elections on the day that we celebrate our independence. Anyway, just saying. It was probably coincidental. I don't know if it's the Thursday always and just the 4th happened to fall on that same day. Hard to say. But here is a post that kind of starts it off with. So Nayib Bukele. I have no idea who this person is. They're saying congratulations to the people of the United States of America on your Independence Day. We are inspired by you. Not by the ideals you hold now, but by the ideals you had in 1776 when you gained your freedom and built the foundations of your great country. We will follow that example. Happy 4th of July. And this is, I think, one of the guys from, like they said, they followed that example for us, or with us. But yeah, this is El Salvador President Nayib Bukele. There you go. I should probably know his name, but whatever. You guys know me in names anyway. And then on top of that, he's a foreigner? Shoot, I don't know nothing about him. Viktor Orban's going to meet Vladimir Putin. Well, he did meet him, actually. And they talked. And they said, we're ready for peace talks to complete and final end to the Ukraine war. See, everybody's going around the G7 countries that are trying to keep this alive. Everybody is trying to end the war that the G7 won't let stop. That's messed up. That's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Mitt Romney, right? Think of all the people that are all, Lindsey Graham, that are all pro-war. They're the deep state people, guys. The hard part, no, he's good. He's from my place. He's got an arm next to his name. No, he's not. He's a pile of trash. Thank God Mitt's gone. Lindsey, I think, won his election or is doing, he won his election. I think, wasn't it last election? Anyway, whatever the case is, it's hard to keep track of all these people. Populist Brexiteer Nigel Farage actually won the first seat. NBC's making fun of him. It's like it took him 7 tries. All right, whatever. The dude was a member of parliament in Europe for 20 years, I guess. And he's been one of the largest leading this more conservative movement. Well, they picked up, I think it was 5 seats overall, which is astounding. Now, we don't understand their politics, and they actually switched over to the Labor Party. I think I've actually got a slide that'll come up here. Labor Party got like 420 seats or some crazy thing. And a lot of us were like, but they're kind of left center, right? Yeah, but they're one left center. And supposedly, the Sunak guy, right? He was supposed to kind of right center, but I don't know. He was very left and kind of overly progressive. So whatever. I think the way these groups over there are defined doesn't seem to fully fit exactly. All said, the Labor Party has to do with people that work. And right now, here, a lot of that stuff is moving sort of more conservative. Labor unions as well, because they're getting shafted by the Dems. Their policies aren't working. So it's not good, per se. So all said, Nigel Farage actually got a seat in Parliament in Britain. That's amazing. And they got 5 seats overall. Donald Trump, congratulations to Nigel Farage on his big win of the Parliament seat amid Reform UK election success. Nigel's a man who truly loves his country. So, seems to be a good thing. Now, here's Nigel Farage talking to the dude from National Pulse. Hakeem? No, that's not Hakeem. I forget his name. I'm so sorry. The dude's awesome. I like him a lot. And that chick he's got reporting with him normally. All said, he's doing an excellent job. He's asking excellent questions. He understands his audience, because he's on Steve Bannon a bunch. He understands his audience is predominantly American. And he kind of asks those questions that we as Americans don't know. And it helps.
Nigel Farage, MP.
Yes. Great good times, come on.
It's been a long time coming.
Well, yeah, I did 20 years in the European Parliament, but breaking through the first past the post system, tough. And we haven't just won, we've won big. I'm thrilled.
You've got a lot of colleagues going in with you. What will be your first order of business?
Well, let's see what the circumstances are. I mean, let's get ourselves bedded in. I think to try and run before we can walk might be a mistake. I tell you what, those small boats will be crossing the channel next week. I guess that's where I start.
Just explain to our predominantly American audience, what is the scale of this thing? Because for a lot of people, they'll be seeing a Labour Party taking government and be fearing the worst of that. But just explain what the reform movement means and you guys getting into Parliament means.
This is a bridgehead into Parliament with many millions behind us. It's not just what we do in Parliament that matters. I intend to build a mass movement around the country. Rallies, mass membership, getting ready to fight elections at local level, waiting for special elections to come up in Parliament. There is an energy behind this like you can't believe.
You did it in 2016, and of course later on that year, you saw Donald Trump getting elected in the United States. Are we seeing a carbon copy of that right now?
Well, I think I was a good... my success in 16 was good news for Donald. I hope it is again. Go, Donald, go.
Thank you, Nigel Farage, MP. Cheers, congratulations. Cheers.
Well, he said it both ways. I was at first like going to stand corrected, because he first says Nigel Farage. And then at the end he said Nigel Farage. So I don't know if maybe that's just the British way to say it, right? They say, like, Quebec is how you say it if it's, you're saying it in French. But if you're saying it in English, you say Quebec, right? It's just how you say it. It's just the pronunciations are different. So I don't know. I thought I was learning how to properly say it in British, but apparently he's confusing me. Doesn't matter. So, the 2024 UK general election. Again, a lot of us in America don't get this shit. I get you. I want to sort of do a minimalistic job, just kind of trying to point it out. So this is the Labour Party. They got 412 seats. They are overwhelmingly over half the number of people. So this dude won. We'll get to him in a second. We've got these other little groups. I think Farage falls into one of these. I don't know if this is the... Yeah, I think the SF is the group for Farage. No, I don't know. Oops, that's not what I wanted anyways. I think maybe they're saying 7 seats. Oh, this is it. Reform Party is the 14.3, but I don't know which one this is. I think it's the 7 maybe. Reform is 5. So, okay, whatever. Reform Party got 5. That's what ultimately it comes down to. That's that's Nigel Farage's thing. This is the conservative movement. That is this Sunak dude. So he's gone. He's done. He lost his job. He said goodbye to the king. There was a video of him doing his little 60-second thing. I'm sure my British people are like, you should have played it. And I'm like, nah, I don't care about him at all. Not even a little bit. This is way more than I'll ever care about British politics. But this was a big movement to the right. And I think the Labor Party, personally, and I don't know enough about their country to say anything, but I think laborers typically are starting to realize, one, I pay way too much in taxes and get very little for it. And I think there's this movement that's actually infecting some of these other groups. And maybe they don't like the sound of a conservative party, which I think a lot of people that are left center, they don't want to be Republicans, right? Like in our kind of world. They don't want to be one. They don't want anybody to ever think they're a Republican. That's like the enemy. But they're maybe willing to walk away from their party and become something else. So that's kind of, I think, what's sort of happening with a lot of the very left-leaning places. And I feel like England or Britain was very heavily left-leaning. So, yes, the general elections sort of have kind of gone that way. But this talks about the different parties. Like the Labor Party is supposed to be center-left. I don't really think a lot of this is all that accurate, to be honest. I think the changing times are altering things, because Conservative and Unionist Party, I believe this was the one that Sunak was part of, is center right to the right wing, but that's not necessarily the Reform Party is hardcore right wing, right? That's what they're calling it, it needs to be rebranded. So I think that's some of what Farage is going to work on. I don't know. We'll see. Now, Keir Starmer, he's the dude that won. Human rights lawyer from a small town in southern England. He's about to be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. His victory on July 4th was overwhelming, yet Britain barely knows who he is. Starmer has been a politician for only 9 years, and since being crowned UK Labour leader in 2020, he has steered the party from its worst election defeat in almost a century to become the dominant force in British politics. More than that, his success, just as Western allies flirt with populism, places him instantly as one of the most prominent center-ground leaders in the world. That may be lonely place come year's end. Few thought such a transformation possible. His enemies call it luck. They say he has benefited from Tory calamity, which he has, and is victor by default. And I think that's some of the unpopularity. I think the Tory clan was a little more of that progressive-y stuff, right? So he probably has benefited from the collapse of that, because these people had to go somewhere. Where are they going to go? Probably the Labour Party. It seems to be kind of in realm with that. And again, we've got Farage that took over a right-wing party that he's going to bring to the center. And what's happening is, in Britain anyways, which is phenomenal, I think, fantastic, as Eddie Izzard would say, are coming towards the center. The extremes on both sides are moving towards the middle. And that will be powerful in the big picture. So, huge movement. And again, us here in America, we don't understand what the frick's going on in England. You guys are nuts. We don't frickin' know. You guys say weird shit. We can't ever tell when you're mad. I know. I got you. But I'm here. I'm trying my best, guys. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to show some of the people here in America, this is a pretty big day. I think there's a lot of people that feel like they've got a bit of a victory in England right now. Not all the way, but you guys moved the football forward. You moved what do you call the rugby ball? I forget what that's called. Anyway, you moved the rugby ball forward. You guys play cricket too, so you threw the cricket ball forward. Whatever the shit. You did something, and it helped, and it's good. And so, cheers to my good friends across the pond. I think you guys have done a wonderful job, and for hopefully the American people here, I hope you get something out of this, because I think it's important to realize we as a planet right now are moving towards the center. Just are. And we're supposed to, but there's evidence of it, I guess, is my point. Brazil police indict Bolsonaro. This would be kind of an opposite. Brazil police indict Bolsonaro for money laundering. Apparently he got a gift. Bolsonaro's the one we like. He's the friends with Trump. He's the one that they're going after now. Lula's the criminal that's currently in charge. Bolsonaro he got like a diamond or something crazy. Like a diamond in the sky. Like whatever, right? He got a diamond from some Saudi Arabia dude. And now they're saying that's bad. You're not allowed to do that. They're indicted him for money laundering, says the criminal. They're like, we want the diamond, which they're probably taking and keeping. Polls open up in Iran. There's a runoff presidential election going on out there. You know, the one that died in a helicopter crash? And I kind of wonder with Iran. I know that the Ayatollah has huge sway So I'm curious about the elections, but I do know that the younger population in Iran does not kind of like what's happening with Ayatollah and all his old ways. So this has always been the contentious point. We'll see how it goes. I haven't had a chance to talk to it's like there's a chick in the gym that's Persian that's pretty friendly because we both have similar cars, and she like loves to talk about that. Whatever, right? You got to connect where you can, right? All said, I've been meaning to ask her what's up, but it's not always appropriate to bring up crazy shit like that. J.K. Rowling has pointed this out. The use of puberty blockers has been halted in Scotland. Our government chose a nice, quiet news day to slip out the announcement that they'll be implementing the recommendations of the case review, which apparently has to do with not using hormone blockers. Elon Musk responded with a lot of words, which were wise. Wisely said. No extra words there at all. Economy of words, they say, is well done. Well done indeed. Pretty big deal. Italian Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, a staunch ultra-conservative critic of Pope Francis, has been found guilty of a schism, I think is how they say it, and he's been excommunicated, according to the Vatican's doctrinal office, after accusing the Pope of a misconduct cover-up. I kind of wonder if he's like maybe going to be the one that fixes the deep state. Like he's the one, like the deep state church, maybe? I don't know. Or it's just, there's been a lot of prophecies that the Catholic Church isn't going to survive this, which there'd be many people that would be thrilled about that. I was brought up Catholic. I don't know. Kind of rooting for him a little bit to figure it out, but not putting money on it. I'll tell you that. But we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I don't know at all. But this was a big deal to be defrocked, or as they say, were they doctrinal cover? Were they excommunicated? Yeah. You must leave. Get out of here. Get down now. Get in the chopper. Do it now. Wisconsin Supreme Court reinstates absentee ballot drop boxes. It is what it is. Not necessarily something we want to happen, but Wisconsin liberal-controlled Supreme Court voted on partisan lines, 4-3 decision. Win for Democrats who argue the long-standing practice of allowing voters. This was initially decided by the same court that they weren't allowed, and now they've changed their mind or law or reasoning or ruling, whatever. Opinions. One of those things got changed. And, that's where we're at right now. So we'll see. I don't know if it gets anywhere from there or we just learn to use the drop boxes the same way, stuff them with. I mean, I don't think that's what we should ever do. But anybody could stuff stuff in them, right? Anybody. Not hard for law-abiding citizens to figure out ways to legally do things like that. Might have access to some of these illegal aliens' social security numbers too. Who knows? I'm not saying we should do that. We should follow the law always, 100%. Hey, Truth Threads, guys, truththread.shop is awesome. We got incredible stuff. The 5G warfare is really, really good stuff right now. It's got that message for everybody. You know, it's just like we are in a 5G warfare. And it is a great piece of, one, high quality clothing, by the way. We actually choose that very carefully. Two, the messaging is really, really good. And of course, it's got the OTF flag on the sleeve, which is always epic. But it tells people who are waiting in line behind you or walking behind you or whatever, what's really happening. You're spreading ripples without having to say a thing. And you'd be surprised how many people actually tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, what's this all about? And you can kind of get a conversation going, you know? Take it carefully when you get there. You gotta feel people out and see where they're at with it, right? Are they kind of left-leaning, but they're kind of curious, right? Okay, well, come at it from don't just hit them with the adrenochrome or something right off the bat. Maybe come at it a little softer. Just saying. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. You're actually going to start those conversations. We've got a number of different ways to do it. Tank tops, t-shirts, girl t-shirts, unisex t-shirts, because I guess the girl one's got a little extra space in the front for stuff. Your packages, your melons, I don't know, whatever. And of course, we got the Army of Enlightenment on the fringe. Are you ready for the Great Awakening? I hope. If you're willing to just spread that around. That's always good times. Plus, we got some cool mugs, too. You can help out the big picture, and we even got those on sale a little bit right now. So hit us up, truththread.shop. You're actually helping out a family that's helping actually literally print these and press these, and you're helping the channel out, which is super cool, by spreading the word and everything else under the sun. This is a wonderful partnership, and I hope you guys enjoy it, too. And for those of you that feel so bold, I'd love you to share the pictures with the email that you get from this when this purchase. Those pictures are going to go on to every once in a while we do a little montage of pictures, if you will, and I'd love to see you guys on there. So hit us up, truththread.shop, and we'll get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the end of this together, guys. All said, it's having a wonderful effect. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are ready to join us in some live music. I can keep that up. But live music going on tonight, and then we've also got my good friend, The Alpha Warrior, that you can check out. I think The Alpha Warrior Show. I think he's got another, if you just say Alpha Warrior, I think you'll find it too, .com or whatever. Either way, you're going to find my good friend, and love my boy. He's my brother from another mother, unquestionably. And I've met him in person too. I actually know him. I've been to his house a couple times. Me and my girlfriend, we've hung out with the daughter, the wife, the dad. It's awesome. I know the whole family. They're an incredible group of people over there. Love them all. And so we'll be doing our Synchronicity show today, which has been oddly popular. It's been fun. All said, check that out. It's just called Synchronicity. It's on Rumble. We'll be doing that live at 4:30 Pacific time on Friday. And you can watch it after the effect, of course. And we'll be doing the music show, 3 p.m. Pacific time on Friday as well. And you can also watch that afterwards. I've got a watch playlist on Rumble. So if you go to the one playlist I have, it's actually all the music stuff I've done. I think we're on episode 70 right now. And so I've done 70 of them. A lot of really good bands, sometimes just mixtures of music. Been kind of doing that a lot lately because there's a few bands I want to do, but sometimes my audience gets a little weird about some bands because they're a little not classic rock enough or old enough or something. I don't know what the hell it is sometimes. I think some of the people in my audience get angry just because it's not their favorite kind of music. But that's the point. Come join us. Hear different kinds of stuff. It's something my dad used to do. He used to break out this cardboard box, all of his records, and we'd just sit around listening to crazy music. It was fun as hell. Good times. Anyways, guys, I've, of course, gone long, but it's at the end. This is the place to do that kind of stuff. I want to remind you guys also keep pushing forward. Understanding the power of your ripples is very important. When you're conscious of what you're doing, your ripples are significantly more powerful than unconscious people by multiples. So keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right track, and you are what's making a difference. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.